You bring up the budget, and the president brings up the budget, the Paul Ryan budget.
Right.
But as you know, and we've been around this block before, the Senate Democrats who control the Senate haven't had a budget passed one in now 1,091 days. Here's what you said to Greta Van Susteren when we talked about this the last time, and you were on her show.
I expect that the Senate will take up a budget. I have not heard Harry Reid's. I haven't heard Harry Reid say anything close to that he's not going to put a budget on the Senate floor. The Senate will. I'm confident the Senate will take up a budget, and but let's focus on what's important here. Process is not what we should be obsessing over.
So the Senate is not taking up a budget. He has said he will not take up a budget. A budget will not move to the floor this year. And he said back in February, it's done, we don't need to do it, and it's clear now they're not doing it. So what about that?
Well, I mean, I'll say what I said that night, because focusing on process is not what the American people are interested in. What they're interested in is making sure that the Romney-Ryan budget that ends Medicare as we know it, that would allow student loan interest rates to double.
But you get
the
people sitting at home that say, hey, listen, we understand that you have a problem with the Ryan budget, but there's not a Democratic budget on the table.
There certainly is. President Obama proposed a budget.
But it's not being voted on.
That's right, because the House Republicans
voted it down. The Senate controls by Democrats, and they are not bringing forward the president's budget. If they wanted to vote on the president's budget, all they'd need is 51 votes to pass it. So why don't you or President Obama call Senator Reid and say, bring up President Obama's budget and vote on it?
I don't speak for or tell Harry Reid what to do. What I think we'd have to do here is make sure that we've got two budgets, two different directions that we could go on November 6th and leading up to November 6th. The Romney-Ryan budget, which Mitt Romney has fully embraced, that takes us back to the failed policies of the past.
People are talking about it. So you can debate it because it's passed the House.
We can also debate the president's budget.
But it hasn't passed the Senate.
Okay.
No, but see, this is how you know how Congress works.
No, what I know is that we have two blueprints that show the different directions that this country
one
could go.
One has passed the Chamber of Congress and one hasn't.
I know that it's really interesting to, instead of focusing on the details, which are really meaningful to people, to focus on process, because the details are painful for Republicans.
But if solutions are the end result, if you're trying to get solutions, you know you have to get it past Congress. So
again, I'll say to you what I said.
I know you
to
don't
Greta,
think people care about process.
Harry Reid or a Senate Democrat on your show and ask them. I'm none of those things.
Well,
I'm a House
You
Democrat.
told Greta that he was going to bring it forward.
I did think at that time that there was a likelihood that a budget would come to the Senate floor, but what you're trying to do now is and I understand it, because the Romney-Ryan budget is painful for Americans.
How do you solve the problems of the U.S.?
No, it makes sure that we don't do it by making sure that millionaires and billionaires get another $150,000 in tax breaks.
How do you fix things if you don't?
We fix it by working together. We fix it by both sides coming together,
which is called a conference committee,
and not walking away from a $4 trillion opportunity to reduce the deficit.
But you can't work together unless there are two plans that come together in a conference committee, and you work out, you iron out the details. Some people get what they want, other people don't get what they want.
Right.
And if there aren't two plans that go to the conference committee, then you just kind of demagogue one plan that's on the table.
Well,